gang of 5 have been charged for intentionally misapplying public property, contrary to Section 1, Subsection 2 of the Public Property Protection Act 1977, SMCD 140, issuing false certificates, contrary to Government Construct Protection Act 1979, AFRCD 15(8), and dishonestly causing loss to public property. They are also being charged for willfully causing financial loss to the state, contrary to Section 179, Subsection A, 3 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Mrs. Yvonne Atakra Obuobisa, filed the charges at the Accra High Court on Friday, July 30, 2021. It is alleged that although $196.43 million had been spent on the Saglemi Affordable Housing Project and the contractor having been paid $179, investigations carried out revealed that the cost of works executed on site, including consultancy services, was about $64.90, with only 651.6 acres of land used out of the 2,172 acres allotted for the project. The prosecutor said investigations further revealed that only 668 housing units were completed by the contractor but not habitable. She also revealed that none of the houses under the project has been sold and the facility remains unpaid, resulting in huge financial loss to the country. The case has been adjourned to October 21, 2021. The National Association of Graduate Teachers (NAGRAT) is asking government to invest more resources into public schools to make them attractive and competitive, especially at the basic level. At an editors forum in Accra, the association said increased funding and improved infrastructure in public schools is the surest way to bridge the gap between equity and quality of public and private schools.
Sustainable Development Goal 4 seeks to promote inclusive, equitable and quality basic education for all children of school-going ages irrespective of gender, geographic location, religion and socio-economic status. This is to ensure universal basic education for all by 2030. Ghana has over the years made strides in expanding access to basic education. Primary school enrollment from 83.6% in 2010 to 87.3% in 2019, with junior high school increasing from 47% to 48.4%. However, more than 400,000 children between ages 1 and 4 are not in school, and over 140,000 dropped out of kindergarten and junior high schools. This the National Association of Graduate Teachers attributes to lack of infrastructure, teaching and learning materials, and of qualified teachers to be posted to deprived communities.
Our focus is on getting everybody educated. That's why we are partnering with other organizations to expand our scope so that we'll be able to reach out to everybody, especially the parents who are beneficiaries of this system.
The Executive Director Education Watch, Mr. Kofi Asare, called on governments to invest in public schools by ensuring financial commitment and resources.
Basic education is a right. Secondary education is a progressive right. Basic education is a non-negotiable right. That's why it is called fundamental. Secondary education is subject to the availability of resources. It is time for governments to walk the talk and deploy resources to basic education to manifest basic education role as a right.
The campaign against privatization of education by NAGRAT believes government can achieve its target of free, equitable and quality education if it commits adequate resources and infrastructure in the education sector.
Government has allocated land for the construction of Girls STEM Senior High School at Bonkatamanso in Accra to be affiliated with the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences (AIMS. This, according to the country director for World Education Incorporated, is laudable in the quest to improve science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM education for girls in the country.
The European Commission in 2018 stated that new digital technologies, by promoting women's labor market participation and facilitating their financial and digital inclusion, has led to more positive economic welfare. This, according to the country director of World Education, Mrs. Susan Edu-Ayi, highlights the importance of STEM education in Ghana, celebrating the International Day. Mrs. Edu-Ayi said targeted investments will empower communities and meaningfully access, use and lead technology.
Girls and women, demystifying the notion that boys are more technologically inclined. To be more curious about digital literacy, we girls and women. Invest more in devices and applications that will boost sales in businesses, support us to delve more into research and education, and literally get us hooked on devices and applications that will improve upon family income and the health and well-being of family members.
The Ministry of Education has announced that a 12.6-acre land allocated by government is to be used for the construction of a world-class campus for African Mathematical Sciences (AIMS). The project is part of the 11 model state-of-the-art STEM SHS being built across the country. They will be equipped with 12 laboratories with a STEM pathway to be established in some existing SHS.
The debate over whether the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill should be passed or not rages on. On our discussion program Focus, a member of the Communications Committee of Parliament, Mr. Sam George, and a former director of the Institute of African Studies of the University of Ghana, Professor Emerita Techua Menu, shared their views on the issue. The former Attorney General, Mr. Ayikoi Otu, joined the conversation via Zoom.
Guest on our current affairs program, Focus, expressed divergent views on the LGBTIQ+ bill currently before Parliament. The bill seeks to criminalize lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer and intersex life and people who are promoting it in the country. A group made up of academics, lawyers, researchers and human rights activists is opposed to the passage of such a bill. A former director of the Institute of African Studies at the University of Ghana, Professor is of the view that the rights of the LGBTIQ+ must be protected.
We are all allowed to speak, and Parliament itself, it's not just to make them stronger, it will be to expunge anything, assuming that law passes. And we are suggesting that that law does not deserve to pass. Okay? So this business about the EU Court of Justice, when it sues the proponents of the bill, they can cite things from everywhere. It's not foreign. And that is one of the things. As a researcher, I was appalled. There was no evidence. There are insinuations. There is no evidence from work done in Ghana to support anything in the bill.
A member of the Communications Committee of Parliament, Mr. Sam George, is of the view that LGBTIQ+ practice in Ghana would not augur well for the nation.
Of the public who are saying that if you think it is okay for a man to change his sex to a woman and then be able to have sex with a person of the opposite sex, it is okay for me to also carry out my attraction to my daughter or my son, once it is also consensual. So incest, and they are coming out. So that is where the danger of enforcing rights that are indeterminate.
But do we have a law against incest in that?
A former Attorney General and High Commissioner to Canada, Mr. Ayikwe Otu, joined the conversation via Zoom.
They should stop making the argument about two consenting adults having sex in private. We are all aware of that. That's the issue. All the other definitions, where are Prof. and before in 1960, we did not know these things. Where did they come about? If Parliament concentrates on those other aspects that I have hammered upon, Parliament should pass it. We are not ready for it.
Parliament is expected to work feverishly on the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill when it returns from recess.
3 basic educational institutions in Greater Accra have benefited from Rotary's digital literacy education program. This campaign is part of a drive to encourage pupils, especially girls, to take advantage of gender equity in digital literacy to help drive economic growth for national development.
As technology continues to drive the world, it has become increasingly important to keep up with the times. But partners in education say the study of science, technology, engineering and mathematics must be strengthened to achieve this. To help the girl child develop a key interest in the digital space, members of the Rotary Club of Accra East Legon, in partnership with Rotary Club of Accra West, Rotary Club of Accra Airport and Rotarys Club of UPSA, were at the Presec Basic School, Medina Cluster of Schools, Junior High School, to organize a digital literacy education session for the educate and encourage the female pupils, especially about the possibilities that exist in the digital technology space. This is one of Rotary's vocational services to serve through their profession and practices by sharing inspire others. The digital literacy education centered on areas such as social media access and use, exposure to computers and internet, digital skills level, as well as roles and professions in technology. Rotarian Rosalind Kudwaji is the club president of the Rotary Club of Accra Airport, one of the partners of the campaign.
The idea is to make sure that we of 800 girls. We are in the technology era, and if COVID has taught us anything at all, it has taught us that technology is very important.
The Girls Education Officer Medina Municipal Education Office, Mrs. Juliana Iwa, was happy about the initiative since it will help to now use social media in a positive way. The campaign had the theme Digital Generation, Our Generation.
The LANDFILL site has for years served communities in Tema and parts of Accra. Currently, the dam site, which was receiving much more waste than expected and posing environmental threats to communities around the area, is being re-engineered and decommissioned. The Sanitation Ministry says the site will be turned into a recreational park once the decommissioning is complete. Our Tema regional correspondent Michael Dewonu is at the site to give us an update on the current state of the decommissioning process.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, and we are coming to you like from the KPONE landfill site. This site has been a dumping site for so.
Hey, next story, I didn't remember.
The project engineers are working on the project. We have TMA resident engineer here who will tell us what the process is and how far they've gone with this particular decommissioning and what is next for the KPONE landfill site. Thank you so much, Mr. Ernest, and welcome to GBC News. Please briefly tell us what is happening currently here at the KPONE landfill site.
Thank you. My name is Ernest Lasson, manager of PMA for the management of Molampo site. So back in 2019, August, there was fire got this particular site and burnt the entire facility. Therefore, it was full of smoke and other nuisances affecting the environment and the atmosphere as well. So currently, what's happening is that the government have conducted the local contractor to re-engineer the facility to make it a more eco-friendly, environmental useful environment for us. So for now, what's happening is that they have come to cut the waste, quench the fire, shape the site, covered with laterite, compacted with laterite, and on the top of the laterite, they use tester material, which is more thick and like a tester product. So use that one to line the entire top and cover it with the under laterite again. Then they also drill boreholes, bent pipes, new bent pipes, because the old ones, some of them were submerged around the operation. So they drill other ones to enhance the extraction of gas at the site here for future use, and to also enhance the last one of the facility here. So currently, there's a lot of work that has been done. About 95% of the work is over completed, and very soon they will do the final work and for further use.
So what will become of the site when this decommissioning is completed? Yes. What will become of the site?
The plan for the site after work is to as a playground or for social event. So it's not going to be a camping site anymore, but it's going to be a place that programs can be held after extracting the gas, not just after the decommissioning. After extracting the gas, they can use the entire base for educational facility, so that it will be more useful to the community environment.
So work is currently ongoing, and like we've heard, it's 95% complete. The last time the Minister for Sanitation was here, she mentioned that they want to build KPONE Las Vegas. And so we are waiting to see what becomes of the KPONE landfill site after a decommissioning and re-engineering. For GBC News, Michael Dawanu reporting.
You're watching News Hour live on GBC News and News and Governance channel. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority DVLA has combined efforts with GBC's Radio Savannah and opened a motorbike registration center at GBC's premises in the northern region. The idea is to increase access to registration of motorbikes in the region. The Regional Director of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Mr. Yao Kwatiam Pofo, said as part of its corporate social responsibility, GBC will help to reduce the spate of accidents caused by motorbikes in the region. Correspondent Mutala Issa joins us live from Tamale.
DVLA impounded nearly 400 motorbikes across the Tamale metropolis for two major offenses: riding without crash helmet and not registering their motorbikes with number plates. GBC Radio Savannah and the DVLA are collaborating to increase access to the registration process. One of the major reasons given by residents is that there is only one registration point, and the frustration when one goes out there to register motorbikes is just unbearable. It is a reason why they continue to ride without registered number plates.
It's one of the major concerns so far as crime and of course the use of motorbikes are concerned, and the safety on our.
Talking about safety on our roads, from the National Road Safety Commission, the statistics indicate that the major casualties when it comes to road crashes in the northern region are the youth within the age bracket 35 and. If you go to the Tamale Teaching Hospital, the fracture, the emergency unit, you will find most young people, some of them with skull fractures, some with broken legs, and it costs so much to fix these problems. And they are appealing to the public to not only register, but also to ensure that they wear crash helmets when they are riding.
In the Bono region, our correspondent John Sam Arthur reports of insanitary conditions at the Chira Station Waste Disposal Site at Sunyai, where rubbish containers are overflowing due to delays in collection of wastes at the site.
Okay. The battery need dry. Speaker. Hello. Okay. This. Leaders are all complaining because their age-old problem with rubbish has resurfaced, and now it seems to have gotten worse. It all started when they had just one container. They complained that it was not enough, and a second one was added. It still did not solve the problem, and a third one was added. But still the problem persists. And it persists because anytime there's a slight delay in cutting away the full container, then the rubbish starts gathering on the ground. And so, as you can see, looks like this has been persisting for a while. I've been talking to some of the traders around here, and they tell me that last Saturday, the containers were not emptied. And so that is where this problem started building up. So I've been talking to some of them about the challenges that this situation presents to them. And it's very, very unfortunate what they have to tell me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's the area, huh? Now, Ebani saying,
Masa, I do start again there. Young fans say, Tamana administration back no one this time. No more this car, board a car is buy. Until 1, 2, 3, no more you don't have your but the next thing the problem to buy, you know. Masa, higher west.
I see.
Higher west.
And my phone is what now what's the problem?
Like my phone make check to Muka.
I see. Okay.
And I'm saying to Muka in Tiama, I want to remember Mrs. Paul and India.
I see.
Piano, the phone one, I'm going to Diana, you put this and it in story. And then
okay. Madam, we are Jumo had to be out to Hasi. Now, Ebani say, I see. I see. Okay. I see. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. So, like you had, the people are complaining that it is all about the timeliness in cutting away the waste when the containers are full. Unfortunately, the caretaker that is supposed to take care of this place was around a moment ago, but he seems to have disappeared. I would have liked to, hear from him. And he also, I spoke to him earlier, and he was talking about how he was not paid, and he doesn't have the equipment that he requires to do the work, and a whole lot of challenges. We're going to be doing a follow-up with the waste authorities, talking about the Sunyai Municipal Assembly and then Zoom Lion, to find out what they are doing to get rid of this problem, because it keeps recurring. And we'll also try and find out what can be done to ensure that this situation does not happen again. For now, the people are suffering, and their plea is that the duty bearers, the Sunyai Municipal Assembly and the Zoom Lion in these parts will quicken their pace and make sure that this eyesore is eradicated and it's taken away from here.
Thank you very much, John Samartha. 13th of October is the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. It highlights how people and communities around the world are reducing their exposure to disasters. The theme for this year's celebration is International Cooperation for Developing Countries to Reduce Their Disaster Risk and Disaster Losses. Our Eastern Regional Correspondent Gloria Affol has interacted with Regional NADMO spokesperson Mr. Jones Adeti on the significance of the day.
Today is International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, and I'm currently in the office of the National Disaster Management Organization, the Eastern Regional Office, with the Human Resource Director, Mr. Jones Adeti, to tell us the significance of this day. Mr. Adeti, good afternoon and welcome to GBC News Live.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. What is the essence of celebrating this day?
Thank you very much. Disaster Risk Reduction, International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, was instituted by the World Global Body UN General Assembly to promote culture of risk reduction and disaster risk reduction strategy. So this day is to create the needed awareness and the needed sensitization for people to be aware of the risks that they are associated with in their environment and the way to prevent them.
Okay, so in the region, how is the office celebrating today?
At the regional level, under the able leadership of Honorable Pami Apiakubi, has tasked all the municipalities and the districts to draw a week-long program. Prior to the Climax Day, that is today, they have been having a week-long program. Today is the Climax Day. So in the disaster management field, we have three phases: pre-disaster management, emergency phase, and the post-disaster. So we are taking this as a pre-disaster management phase and doing the needed public education and sensitization as far as disaster risk reduction strategies are concerned.
Looking at the theme for this year's celebration, how significant is this for us as a nation? Since we are one of the developing countries.
Thank you very much. The theme for this year's celebration is substantially enhancing international cooperation to developing countries through adequate and sustainable support to complement their national action for implementation of this framework. In fact, this theme was taken from the Sendai Framework of Action, the target areas, target F. So international cooperations and whatnot supports are very, very, very important. For instance, in this area of the era of COVID-19, we have support from US, we have support from Germany in respect of vaccination. We are providing with us the vaccination drugs. And we also ought to play our part by going for the jabs, going for the vaccines to minimize the risk associated with COVID-19. We also have to adhere to the international protocol set out by the World Health Organization so that the risk of COVID-19 and its attendant effects will minimize.
So, apart from that, any advice for us looking at what do we need to do to reduce our risks when it comes to this?
Thank you very much. As I indicated earlier on the definition of risk, we all have to put our hands on deck so that we will do things that will minimize the impact of risk. For instance, going for the jab will minimize the risk of the COVID-19 spread. And also, we should also keep on adhering to the protocol, social distancing, wearing our masks, and washing our hands with soap and running water. And also, we have climate change issues associated with all these things. So I'm entreating everybody to adhere to the protocols of COVID-19 so that to minimize the risk.
Thank you very much. That was the Eastern Regional Director of the Human Resource at NADMO, Mr. Jones Adeti, speaking to us on the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. I'm Gloria Affol reporting for GBC News, Kofodia.
For the people of the Upper East region, reducing risk is important, specifically due to the annual spillage of the Bagre Dam and its attendant repercussions, loss of lives and farmlands. Our Upper East regional correspondent is speaking to NADMO and the Red Cross Society about how to minimize risk to the barest minimum.
Thank you very much. Yes, here in the Upper East region, there are of issues when it's come to disaster. This has to do with the annual spillage of the Bagri Dam coupled with torrential rains. And there is the need for individuals to raise the awareness and also find ways of reducing disaster when they spill the excess water in the Bagri and that of the Kompenga dams in Burkina Faso. With me here is the regional deputy director of NADMO, Mr. David Mba, to tell us what his outfit has been doing over the years to help minimize the incidence of disaster here in the Upper East region. Mr. Mba, you're welcome to GBC News. Tell us, what are some of the things your outfit is putting in place to make sure that issues of this disaster that comes as a result of the spillage of the Bagra Dam is being reduced?
Thank you very much, Sane. NADMO has been very active, especially in this area. This year round, we have sensitization is going on, and we have been able to organize the department in such a way that structures were put in place, especially the rescue operations team. And then we had the police marine team were also stationed in the region to assist us in terms of disaster management, especially when there is a spillage.
So this time around, the Bagri Dam wasn't spilled. Is there any measures your office is putting in place in ensuring that in years to come, when they spill the excess water in the dam, you will be able to curb any menace or any issue that will come as a result of that?
Yes, NADMO is very proactive in this area, and I think that the strategy we adopted this year, we will continue with that strategy next year in case there is a spillage of the Bagre Dam, so that we can curb any disaster that may occur.
You mentioned another interaction, the lives lost and the farmlands that have been destroyed for over 3 years now.
Yes, we had 3 years, that is 2018, 2019, and 2020. We had about 47 lives lost as a result of the heavy downpour in the region and also the spillage of the Bagre Dam. And NADMO, looking at these figures, that is alarming. NADMO, in partnership with Star Ghana, recently just had a program at Palegu, which is another area of a prone disaster area. And we had to step in to sensitize the people in Palegu. We also went to Zebila to also do same around the Galaka area.
Okay, thank you very much. I also have the regional manager of the Ghana Red Cross Society, Mr. Paul Woma, here with me. Tell me, you looking at this year's theme for the World Risk Reduction Day, what does that mean to your department in terms of risk reduction?
Thank you very much. You know, the departments collaborate so effectively with the national department that is in charge of disaster management, NADMO. And we have been doing this thing so effectively in the communities. And thankfully, this year's theme ties in very well with our philosophy of cooperation with the rest of the stakeholders in disaster management. The team talks about international cooperation. And even if we want to localize our own team, we're talking about national cooperation, regional cooperation, district level cooperation in disaster risk management. The time has come that all actors in the disaster management conundrum should be talking about how do we come together to manage risk and reduce losses. The Ghana Red Cross Society, being a humanitarian movement, is always saddened when misery is found in the communities. And this year, the Secretary General of the Society called me up and said, the northern sector of the country has been prone to disasters. What radically can we do different to make sure that misery is reduced? And we are organizing a humanitarian forum in that regard. That is the cooperation the team is stressing about to gather resources from the political elite, from the business class, from all departments in the country, from all people, to build back better for the vulnerable. And I think that the team ties in very well. The Swiss Red Cross has supported the Ghana Red Cross in rendering houses, a lot of houses in the Kolgozo, Kolgoto, Mayoro communities in the Kasina and Kana municipality and Busa respectively. They cannot continue to do this thing without the cooperation of everybody.
About 4 months ago, the government, through the Lands Ministry, put in motion a plan to restore the degraded forest cover brought about by activities of illegal miners. Known as the Greening Ghana project, it was launched nationwide in June and planted 7 million trees, exceeding the 5 million target. The trees are to be nurtured to maturity to contribute to the preservation of the environment. Our Ashanti Regional correspondent Nicholas Osei-Wusu takes us to one of the sites where some of the seedlings were planted. Hello, good afternoon, Nicholas.
Okay. Yes, we are at a location where some of the trees were planted during the Greening Ghana project, which was upscaled on the 11th of June. Today being 13th of October 2021 is precisely 4 months since this project was initiated and upscaled across the country by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. And today, after 4 months, we are here to evaluate or to see the progress of the trees that were planted. So I have decided to come to one of the locations for this particular exercise, or this important national exercise, to look at the progress of the trees as were planted. And so we can see from here that some of the trees are doing quite well. Yes, here, teak trees were planted. Some of them are doing very well. And incidentally, they came to meet the rains of the minor season. But some of them are also dying off as a result of various factors contributing to the growth of plants. Here we have had quite a number of officers from the Youth in Afforestation Project always coming around to water the plants they so planted here. Unfortunately, some of the trees that were planted have had to die off for various reasons. And we are expecting that as the rains continue to pour virtually every day, these plants will continue to also flourish, and then to the expectation of the government, so that as part of the sustainable environment, as part of the sustainable development goals of the United Nations, we continue to have some of these plants to serve also as windbreaks for the various houses or communities whenever there's rainstorm around. So from Dadia Swaba, where some of these plants were grown during the National Greening Exercise, Nicholas Osei-Wusu reporting and giving accounts that for where I am, about 85% of the plants that were of the materials that were planted are doing very well, except that 1 or 2 of them are dying off for various reasons yet to be determined. So that's the situation here at Dadia Swaba.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. You're watching News Hour live on GBC News and News and Governance Channel. Time to take a quick break. We'll be back with the business segment. Please do stay.
Live from GBC Studio. This is the Breakfast Show.